It was working so well when we were talking about music that I kind of enlisted him to start writing stuff as a composer.
Which I had to then go figure out what a composer does.
My name is Mari Heller, and my brother Nate composed the music for Night Bitch.
My name is Nate Heller, and my sister Mari directed the film Night Bitch. I am like your typical band dude.
Nate's like the coolest guy who thinks he's not cool, and he probably has an opinion about everything that's going on in the room, and he's probably right, but he'll keep it to himself until you ask him. He's also just one of the people in the world I feel the closest to, and I trust his taste the most.
My family is all super musical, super creative and theatrical. We all were in a production of The Music Man. Literally every single member of my immediate family. At a certain point, I got into, the devil's music, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, and all that. And then I played in bands for a long time. I started producing records because I didn't have the money to go to a studio. And about 10 years ago, my sister Mari was getting ready to make her first movie, and she sort of not so slickly asked me if I wanted to contribute something just for fun. I sort of knew that it was an audition.
You haven't worked with any other composers since?
No. As a director, a huge part of my job is to hire people who know what they're doing in their jobs and be able to communicate with them from an emotional and story point of view what I want. I could talk to them and say, I don't know what I mean exactly, but here's what I want this to feel like.
She's not giving me any kind of technical guidance whatsoever. She's just telling me this feels a little too submissive, would be a word that she would throw out. She's giving me the freedom to use my skill set.
So when you find people who are really good and really care, keep working with them, whether they're your brother or not. I like to say that Night Bitch is about female rage and motherhood, which go hand in hand. It's the story about a mom who has given up her career as an artist, and she feels like things are shifting in her body, there's new hairs popping up, but she's starting to feel like she's turning into a dog, and then she turns into a dog.
This is kind of a multi-genre movie. We kind of got into discussions about the spectrum of going from trying to portray the soft, tender mother-son relationship and then taking it to the darker side.
One of the first conversations we had early on was the discovery of what is going to be our sound for this movie.
We want to have piano. We want to have sort of ethereal elements, maybe some light, jazzy percussion to sort of play up the more comedic moments. After I read the first complete draft of the script, I just started demoing ideas.
So I never do the thing that I think a lot of directors are sort of forced to do, which is put temp score into a cut.
When I'm working with Mari, I have the luxury of starting really early. I'm able to provide her demos that she cuts to.
And that helps because whether you consciously think about it or not, when you edit to somebody else's score, you're copying some kind of rhythm of a different person's movie.
That's a total blessing for someone in my position to be able to just have total creative freedom.
So I have this thing with my sound mix and sound designers where I always want to keep human sounds, like a mouth smack or something.
I kind of crafted a soundscape of very close mouth sounds and then sort of unpacking those sounds and manipulating them to create this disgusting percussive soundscape. So that's when I brought in King Isis, who's our wonderful vocalist.
And they came in with just so much ferocity and strength. It really lent this both eerie quality, but also a deep strength underneath it.
I would sort of sing to Isis, okay, it was a lot of layered vocals, and, we tried it against the cut. It just felt like a perfect match.
It actually doesn't feel like a sung song. It really feels like the body is almost creating music.
What Fresh Hell, it felt like a nice moment to start getting a little weirder with the score.
The way that the character is approaching it is with sort of a morbid curiosity, not with a lot of judgment or a freak out.
I think you have to make something that's kind of a little jaunty and a little bouncy. Some textures and sounds that are a little off kilter, a little unsettling. Similarly, there's an escalation with the character where the next time she finds herself in the bathroom, she's not just exploring and poking and prodding herself, she's doing a minor home surgery.
She isn't judging what's happening to her body, but she's just experiencing it bit by bit.
It was logical for us to push it further, taking like wet, gross, human body meat sounds and trying to make them musical.
And it's so wonderfully disgusting. There was this pivotal moment that the whole movie is building up toward, where the mother is rediscovering her art. She's reconnecting to some part of herself.
Initially, I had written a lyrical song for the final scene that was like a full-on punk rock song, which was universally despised by everyone on production. But that song that I had written months before kind of popped into my head, and I thought, maybe there's a way to sort of flip this into like a soft piano-focused ballad. Take King Isis's voice, let it firm up and crystallize into a lyrical piece there.
The moment we placed it, it just fit. It elevated the emotion of the moment to such a perfect place.
And just one of those, oh, this is why I wrote that song that everyone hated before. Now they're gonna love it. We're always kind of hedging with the music because the last thing that we want to do is hit people over the head and tell them how to feel.
We don't like a film that feels like it's manipulative or that it's forcing the audience into an experience that they're not having authentically.
But really, I don't want people to be thinking too much about the music. I want them to be experiencing what's happening in front of them.